Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webcast. Today we'll be talking about how we can get insights from chatbots that are able to use your proprietary unstructured data. We can get started with a quick look at our topics for today. First, we'll do a quick introduction to Thorogood before moving on to some foundational knowledge of chatbots. I'll then hand it over to Jake, who will go through a chatbot demo and finish off with some approaches and next steps. Now, just a quick introduction. My name is Singh, and I'm a data and AI consultant at Thorogood. I'm joined by my colleague Jake, who is also a data and AI consultant. Jake and I are both very passionate about AI, and we work to deliver end-to-end AI solutions for enterprise clients. Both Jake and I are based in Philadelphia. Before getting to content, I just want to give a brief overview of Thorogood. Thorogood is a specialist data and AI consultancy with offices in the US, Brazil, the UK, India, and Singapore. We offer a range of services within the niche of data and AI, from tool selections and roadmaps to training, platform support, and adoption initiatives. But the bulk of the work we do is application design and development. As a consultancy, we are customer focused, and we are also independent, meaning we partner and work with several of the leading vendors and platforms in our space. And we think this independence, it makes us uniquely well placed to discuss multi-cloud data strategies. We have long-standing partnerships with several of the leading cloud vendors in Microsoft Azure, Amazon Cloud Services, and Google Cloud. And in addition to that, cloud data platforms like Anaplan, Databricks, and Tableau. We deliver initiatives for clients on and across these various cloud offerings as it makes most sense for the client's needs. In terms of the clients we work with several blue chip and industry leading firms. Primarily our work tends to be with companies operating in the consumer goods, insurance, banking, and healthcare industries, as we find these sectors tend to be particularly data rich, though we're not at all limited to working with organizations in these industries, and we do often branch out. Now we can move on to just some foundational knowledge on chatbots. Let's just start off with the fundamentals and define what a chatbot is. So a chatbot is an application that mimics human conversation, effectively allowing a person to have a normal or human-like conversation with a computer program. Essentially what it is a computer program that we can speak to as if it were a human. Chatbots, they've been around for quite some time now and have especially gotten popular within the last 5 years or so. Let's start off with an example of a common chatbot that most of us have probably interacted with: customer service chatbots. So you may notice that when you go on a web page, oftentimes they will have some sort of icon in the bottom right-hand side of the screen labeled chat or chat now, or any variation of this. And then when you click on the icon's going to expand. The chatbot will probably say hello, and it will ask you if you need help with anything. And this is probably, until recently, the most common way you've interacted with a chatbot. And of course, your view on their usefulness probably varies depending on your experiences. As an example, it really shows chatbots in one of their most simple applications. And while these simple chatbots can be helpful, recent advancements in AI research and hardware have led to much more sophisticated chatbots that can do a lot more for you. I think what comes to everyone's mind when they think of a more sophisticated chatbot is ChatGPT, which has, of course, become the most popular among the general population. Let's dig a little deeper into ChatGPT to really understand what makes it so effective and widely used. ChatGPT is a chatbot based on the GPT 3.5 large language model. A large language model, or LLM, is a model that's been trained on a large amount of text data with the goal of general purpose language understanding in order to perform tasks like prediction, translation, and text generation. ChatGPT gives people the ability to interact with a seemingly knowledgeable human-like assistant, much like traditional chatbots that we discussed. However, where ChatGPT differs is that it can provide answers about questions from a wide range of topics and domains. And then similarly, it can assist with multiple tasks across domains like planning, coding, writing, image generation, among others. When people saw how useful and effective ChatGPT was across these different tasks, it really sparked a renewed interest in chatbots and what is possible with them. Many companies began to implement their own strategies for how chatbots can be leveraged within their organizations, and people working at these organizations started using chatbots to assist with their work. One important building block of chatbots and really many other AI applications are foundation models. A foundation model is a large model capable of performing a wide variety of general tasks, typically in the language and image space, So just as there are large models for processing text data, there are also large models for processing image data and other types of data as well. The key distinction that makes a model a foundation model is that the model can be used as a starting point for AI developers to adapt and customize to create specialized applications and models. And to this point, the GPT 3.5 large language model that I discussed in the last slide is a type of foundation model. It's a very large model boasting hundreds of billions of parameters. It can perform a wide variety of general tasks, which we already know, and it can be customized to create specialized applications like ChatGPT. The last topic before I hand it over to Jake for the demo is to go into more detail on some of the benefits that chatbots can bring to an organization and what has enabled the popularity of sophisticated chatbots. By having a comprehensive understanding of all the benefits of chatbots, this is going to help you think of all the possible use cases for them in your organization. The first benefit is the ability to tap into unstructured data that was not previously used or collected, like text, images, and audio. These unstructured data sources, they can help provide insights that you wouldn't be able to get from only using traditional tabular data. Next is the discovery of new insights from data or insights that were not previously considered by human workers. For example, if you ask a chatbot to write some ad copy for an upcoming paid social media advertising campaign, the chatbot may output an ad copy that's unique and has a style that's different from your own. And if the generated ad copy is good, it can be used, or it can give you ideas that you can use for writing your own ad copy. In addition, there can be increases in productivity from using chatbots. We have some activities listed here like faster code debugging, article writing, digital media creation, but of course there are many others as well. Chatbots can very much act as an assistant that can help you be more efficient, or you can think of it as another tool in the belt, kind of like Google or a reference book. The last benefit we have is the ability to be customized to perform well on company-specific data sets and tasks. This is very important since companies have their own data, processes, and operations that are unique to them. For a chatbot to reach high levels of effectiveness for an organization, it will need to be aware of company data and be able to pull knowledge from it. You'll see an example of this during the chatbot demo. All right, now let's quickly discuss some advancements that have enabled the rise of more sophisticated chatbots. One is the emergence of cloud platforms has made storing and processing data much cheaper and easier. This is very significant since foundation models require training on large amounts of data, driving the need for high capacity storage and compute. In addition, digital transformation has created an abundance of data that can be consumed. So think of all the different devices and applications that are collecting data from people. You have wearables like smartwatches, machine sensors, GPS tracking, website clicks, social media activity, etc. Lastly, open source technologies, they've promoted the sharing of innovative new models, which has led to community advancement of these models, and it's enabled easy adoption for organizations. All right, now that we've discussed some foundational knowledge on chatbots, I'll hand it over to Jake to take you through the chatbot demo.
Thank you, Mangi. With that, we're now going to apply some of the concepts to a specific real-world business use case. Use case we're going to look at is chatting with your data, and here we're going to show it on some of Thorogood's own webcast videos. We have a repository of all of our previous webcasts available on our website, and we'd like to be able to ask questions and work with the information more easily than manually combing through each video. Naturally, this webcast and presentation right now will make its way into our application. We chose this example less as one that you would apply directly, but more to show the various sorts of sources that we can use. Typically, we're used to doing analysis on sets of numbers and very structured data. Video goes to the opposite end of the spectrum. It's information dense and maybe as unstructured as it gets. When we look to get information out of the videos, we're trying to find relevant content and provide that for use to a chatbot by using a variety of technologies. With that, let's jump into the design. We have a collection of videos, which we're going to put into cloud storage. We'll extract the transcripts from the videos and store these in cloud storage as well. We'll build a search index on top. And then once we've got the search index, we can either build a search interface on top, or what we're going to do here is take a look at a chat interface that uses the content of the videos and allows us to get better insights to our questions. I'll pull up some of the different components we're going to use for this. Choosing options from the Azure platform, there are equivalent tools available from other cloud platforms and other vendors, but part of the reason we've chosen Azure here is because it gives us access to the underlying model for ChatGPT by using the OpenAI component. It also allows us to use Azure AI Video Indexer, which is a particularly visual tool, so we can better see and visualize the information that it's giving to us. The video indexer takes a video and creates the transcripts. From there, we're going to use Azure AI Search, formerly called Azure Cognitive Search if you're familiar, to create the search index. With the index, we'll use Azure OpenAI as the large language chat component that lets us ask a question and get a response. When we ask the question, it'll use retrieval augmented generation, or RAG or RAG, to look up to our index and use that to better respond to our query. I'll get more into the details in a minute. We're tying all of these components together using Databricks and Azure Data Factory. Each component have APIs that we can use and then schedule and automate the process. We use data orchestration in place to directly pull the videos from our website for use in our application. When we deploy the chat interface, we'll be hosting the page using Azure App Service. So we have a combination of Azure and other tools in the entire app. With that, let's jump over to the browser and walk through our use case. To start, we are in the Azure AI Video Indexer. As I was saying, it's a pretty visual tool. It's not just command line or code. And what we can see here is all of our videos have been ingested from our website and loaded into this video indexer. We can jump into one of these videos in more detail to see what kind of information the video indexer is providing us. So from here, we can see that the video indexer has pulled out a bunch of relevant information and additional features beyond just what's on screen. It's pulling out the people, the topics, keywords, some of the key entities, and the emotions from the webcast. So in addition to just whatever's on screen, it's able to use Azure's deep language and learning models to pull out relevant insights. One thing I wanted to call out here was the emotions. So 0.86% joy doesn't seem like a lot. I'll see if I can beat my colleague Raghav here in this example. But we can think about some other use cases. Say if you're creating an advertisement or you're getting information about a focus group perhaps from a video, you can better see how people are reacting and responding to your content and if your videos are delivering the right messaging. The key thing we're using Azure AI Video Index for is for the timeline and transcript. We'll be able to pull the relevant information from the video to text in order to create the search index on top of. In this webinar, we're talking about ML operations, ML ops, the stages of the analytics journey webinar series. And what we're going to do in a second is using this information and using all of the videos here, we're able to create a chatbot built on our repository of videos. So with that, we can jump into our chatbot here. We've added an open source format to make it more aligned with Thorogood branding and colors, and you can do the same for your website. And so what I'm going to now is similar to any other chatbot experience, type what is ML ops, with the understanding that we have content that's being fed into our search index that will be helpful. So what's going on beyond the scenes here is when I ask that question, the chatbot will look up to our search index and see what is most similar and most relevant to my question. From there, it'll take that content, and that's sort of where the retrieval comes in. It will augment it and generate new text here, and that's sort of how we get retrieval augmented generation. It's coming through based on our search index. The chatbot has provided us a nice usable definition, telling about here's the definition, why it's important, and how best to enable it. The key thing for us is it also provides these references. So if we jump into these references, we can see exactly where the chatbot is pulling this information from, including the transcript from the video. And we've also configured it to provide a link to the webinar itself. So from here, we can have confidence that the chatbot isn't just making things up or hallucinating. We can go back and see for deeper research and understanding, is this truly a good response? And of course, we can continue the conversation from here. But I hope that was useful to show more tangibly all the various steps of the processes. And I'll jump back into the slides. So as I said earlier, this demo puts together some of the different AI components within Azure and puts it to practice where they make sense. Video Indexer is used for the transcription. Azure Search gives us the search index, which is more than just keyword search, but also looking at the actual meaning of the words in their context. And then, as discussed, Azure OpenAI provides the large language model component. All of these parts right now are coming from Azure, but you could get them from other platforms. They're all modular. Let's jump into some other considerations as creating your own chatbot. In the demo, we looked at one example of how these chatbots can be used to gain insights from your data. There are, of course, other types of data sources and use cases. For text, we can use cracking techniques to access PDF documents. Thinking of any key repositories of data, such as HR training documents or marketing research, we can easily query and search on it. You don't have to read through hundreds of pages of text over multiple files from numerous years. Assuming everything is set up accordingly, you can just ask your question and a result will come back with a citation to refer to. For speech, we can turn recordings into searchable data sets, allowing you to quickly go back and review any discussions and decisions made. More recently, there have been additional capabilities to index directly on videos and images. Videos, as the demo shows, are also useful data sources. Although the specific technicalities might change depending on the medium, the core functionality remains the same, and the ability to create a chat interface on top of your data. We talked about some of the chatbot applications so far in the data. I do want to point out some concerns that public models like ChatGPT bring about and how custom chatbots can help address this. Of course, these concerns need to be taken into consideration and managed accordingly. For privacy, you can manage your data protection based on your company's standards. Some concerns that we've heard about are, am I giving my company's data to ChatGPT or whoever's providing the solution? Will it be used in further training for these models? Well, with a custom chatbot, you can set up appropriately so that the data never leaves your organization, as well as follows any other policy requirements. For data governance and control, you can set access group permissions to ensure access is at the appropriate level. Going one step further, due to how retrieval augmented generation works, we can actually set filters on the search query so that information from a particular document is only available and used for specific users. Perhaps only people in the legal department should have access to a certain document. You can control what gets passed to the chatbot for retrieval based on your defined access settings. By customizing and managing a chatbot, you can control for your data concerns. Now, we're going to jump to our last section. Let's talk about how you might go about applying these technologies in your business. Here are some considerations to keep in mind when getting started. First thing, you have to make sure your data platform is reliable enough to handle the applications. When we talk about reliability, it involves two parts. You need both a good foundational level of data, as well as the right data processing and management that allows you to extract valuable information. When you start to look at applications, such as these with chatting through data, the results you get can only ever be as good as the quality of information that's available in the data platform. Another consideration in building is open source versus proprietary. Open source allows for complete ownership. If you start with an open source model, you can customize and control it in all aspects. This comes also with the responsibility to manage it, which could be a risk with how frequently models update. The more you customize a model, the harder it may be to switch to a new model when a better performing one comes around, and they will probably come around. Additionally, it requires a bit more deeper understanding from the development side of things. You or your team need to know the techniques to implement the technology yourself. On the other hand, proprietary can be quicker and potentially cheaper depending on the scale to get started with than open source. Different cloud vendors are providing low or no-code solutions to develop models, which may make more sense for you. This may make it easier to get started, as the cloud vendors abstract some of the management and configuration away, requiring less specific domain knowledge for your team. Of course, there's no one-size-fits-all for building these applications. It'll depend on your specific requirements to determine how much open source and proprietary you may want. Our last consideration is to start small and incrementally improve. We suggest starting with the simplest business use case that will deliver value. Potentially, you have a collection of documents that's commonly accessed by your team and that you have easy access to. First, you can build a simple chatbot to demonstrate and prove the concept, and then you can roll out additional functionality and custom configurations over time. This step-by-step approach is one potential path for an incremental improvement process that keeps all of these other considerations in mind. We start at the data level, moving upwards to a proprietary functional tool with the potential to customize the tool to whatever makes sense in terms of cost and performance of open source models. With that, we'd like to say thank you for joining and to have a nice rest of your day. Thank you.